We are now ready for our first in-studio guest. I am proud to introduce everyone to Kim Bond. I won't even make fun of your name. Okay. Kim Bond from Mental Health Systems. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about Mental Health Systems. What is it that you do?
We're a nonprofit that was founded and is based here in San Diego County, started back in 1978. We provide mental health and substance abuse treatment for what is known as the safety net population. The people who are homeless, on Medi-Cal, low income, no income folks.
Right. So you're providing, tell us a little bit about the service that you provide for them.
We provide a whole continuum of services, from housing for homeless folks to case management services, residential treatment for some of our drug and alcohol females. They can live there with their children. We do have children's programs. We do in-home services. We do a lot of vocational training. We're very big on people going back to work and learning how to support themselves and their families.
You must get involved with one of our prior guests from some time back down at the Monarch School. Some of those folks.
Absolutely. We do a lot of school-based work as well, and we really are in a model of going out to where the people need us, whether it's in the schools or in the homes or in the communities. For our homeless people, we meet them under bridges or on street corners, wherever they need us to meet them.
How can you afford to do this? How are you funded?
We're funded primarily through government contracts, through government grants from state, county, and federal governments. We also, of course, do fundraising, and we also have different revenues that we diversify our funding in.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to make a quick offer to you before we even get too far into the interview. Anytime you have any fundraisers, you do amazing work in this county. You support a lot of people. You support, I love local companies that support great employment. You've got 745 employees.
We do.
That is incredible. Okay, so anytime you have any events, that's part of what we want to do here at Close Up is we want to help promote your events so there's more awareness out there. So make sure that you connect up with my little lovely and talented producer sitting next to you. Let us know whenever anything's coming up, and let's talk it up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now you've been with the company, you've been with the company for 22 years. You've seen a lot of changes within the organization as well as within the community.
Absolutely. I started back in 1992 as a line staff counselor working directly with mentally ill folks, seriously mentally ill folks, in a little place out in La Mesa for this company, and gradually worked my way up. And about 7 years ago, the board of directors named me the president and CEO when the founders retired. There have been a lot of changes, especially with, some of you may be familiar with some of the AB bills and the AB 109 that released some of the prisoners, non-serious, non-violent offenders from our prisons into our local communities. A lot of them end up either on the streets or back in the criminal justice system or in the mental health or drug and alcohol system. So we see a lot of those folks. Absolutely.
Wow. So that's got to be both extraordinarily tough and extraordinarily rewarding to do the right thing. Any great stories of any of the people you've helped?
We have so many great stories. We have a program that we're very proud of. In fact, it's a federal model called the Serial Inebriate Program, primarily downtown San Diego, and it takes chronic alcoholics that have been arrested multiple times, sometimes 30 times a month, by the San Diego Police Department, and they come into they're homeless, they're alcoholics, and to take someone who's been homeless and alcoholic that's been on the street for 20 years, and then they graduate from our program, maybe it might take them 18 months to 24 months. They have an apartment, they have a job, they are reunited with their families.
Wow.
You can't explain the feeling of that, of knowing that someone has their life back.
Yeah, that reminds me of the other guest we had that had the auto mechanic shop.
Yeah, Family Auto.
Family Auto.
That's his background.
Yeah, he was a recovering alcoholic. On the street, everything went wrong. Came out of it. And now he owns 3 different garages across the county, from Alpine, La Mesa, and La Jolla. Yeah. Just great stories.
But what's consistent about his story and what Kim is talking about is that he had a helping hand as well. There is hope. People's lives can be restored, but somebody has to help along the way, and that's what you guys do. And there's a lot of debate going on in the nation about how to best help people and whether or not, putting them in prisons or jails, is the right answer for somebody who's got a chronic issue, as opposed to providing the type of rehabilitation services you're providing. And so I love hearing that there's actually positive outcomes for people and that may be the right solution.
Absolutely.
Kim, can you explain what mental health is for the listening audience? It's so stereotyped and frightening to some people, yet most people do have mental health issues in their lifetime.
Right, and what you're talking about, I think, Urban, is mental illness. And people kind of shy away from saying mental illness because of a stigma, but I think it only has that stigma when we put the stigma on it ourselves. We're big advocates of not only erasing that stigma, but helping people celebrate a recovery from mental illness. In fact, we've created an event called Green Rose Day. It will be in the fall. I'll make sure and tell you guys about it.
Thanks.
Where people who are recovering from mental illness can get together and actually have a celebration. Just like we celebrate someone who gets over a heart attack or has come through cancer, and we say, great job, and we have maybe a party or a cheering section. We rarely do that for people with mental illness that have come through the other side of that.
Yeah, so people don't realize that a lot of illnesses, diseases, come with mental illness. It's a byproduct or a complication, whether it be diabetes, a spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury is an example.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people with a mental illness have an average lifespan that's 25 years less than the rest of us.
Really?
Wow.
Absolutely. So it's important. It impacts our outcomes. If you're in the hospital industry or the healthcare industry, someone with a mental illness is about 3 times more likely to relapse for that same illness than someone without a diagnosis like that. It impacts so many different segments. In fact, I've been doing this for 22 years. I've never met anyone who hasn't been impacted by either substance abuse or mental illness somewhere in their life. And it's a huge component of our society, and we just need to talk about it more.
Yeah, that's incredible. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live at AM1170theanswer.com. Give us a tweet at CloseUpSD. Email me at Barry@CloseUpSanDiego.com, or find our page on Facebook. We want to hear from you. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with my co-host, Andrea Kay, and Urban Miyares, and we have Kim Bond from Mental Health Systems. Let's kind of shift a little bit. I want you to tell our listeners how they find out more about mental health systems, because we want to, as much as we love hearing your story and hearing the great stuff you do, we want to find different ways where we can give back to you. So tell us how we find out more.
Absolutely. You could always look at our webpage, www.mhsinc.org. We have a Facebook page. And if you go to either one of those, you will find information. We call them Hope in Action tours. And you just come and we give you a virtual tour. We talk about our mission, tell you how we serve our mission. It's not a fundraiser. You can leave your checkbooks at home, but we really do talk to you about how we serve and how we can be a resource in the community. And I think the next one coming up actually is at the downtown San Diego Library, where something to be proud of for San Diego is we have one of the first full-time mental health professionals staffed inside the library to help the library staff with our homeless and mentally ill population.
So our listeners can get a double benefit out of this. They can learn everything from you, and they can see the new library downtown.
It's a fantastic building. If you haven't been there, you should take the trip. It's wonderful.
Yeah. No, we've been down there. One of some of our other guests have some restaurants right around there, and I always look over there, and I need to slow down when I'm downtown long enough to go in there.
Yeah, the East Village is just really going crazy down there. Over the past 22 years, has there been trends in mental health in America, and what's changing? And tell us about that.
It has been changing, both in mental health and substance abuse treatment. And we're seeing a lot of shift with affordable health care, the Obamacare. A lot more people that did not have access to mental health treatment now, we're seeing them in our clinics and in our programs. So there's a much wider range. Whereas before we used to see really chronically, seriously mentally ill adults that were in the county system, or we would see people that had private pay insurance. And now we're seeing sort of the middle segment that aren't severely mental enough to be in the county system, but finally have health insurance so they can get some help that they need. And it's really gratifying that we've been able to reach out to, especially with the children and the families that are struggling, to really be able to reach out and help those families and those individuals.
Yeah, so you actually see children that had mental health issues?
Absolutely.
What ages?
From birth to age 18, and we see a lot of families and kids. We do a lot of work inside the homes with, a lot of times they're referred through either through the schools, sometimes through the criminal justice, but usually through the schools. And we will partner with the whole family. We have a team that goes out there and works with many, many folks. And I can't tell you the number of parents that have come back and said, you saved my family, because we not only work with the child, but we work with the parents, the siblings, any other caregivers there are. So everybody gets support. Everybody understands the resources that are out there.
Well,
do you still need to volunteer? 750 employees. I'm thinking, she doesn't need any help on the street.
Absolutely. We always need volunteers. We always welcome people who are interested either in giving a long-term, continual commitment or project-based. We have some groups that will come in and they will maybe adopt a facility for a weekend and do some new landscaping, do painting, or we've had wonderful groups that have come in and helped us throughout the year.
Do you ever take your information, go out to some of the schools and teach the kids, the value of giving back in the community and anything like that?
Not only do we teach our kids, but we teach all of our clients. Our programs, we always have a give back component. So we might have a knitting group, for example, one of our residential treatment programs. Well, they knit hats and gloves or scarves and we give them to homeless shelters. Or we serve food, we serve meals to people. So it's very important for not only our children, but all of us to learn how to give back. We believe being part of the community is taking and receiving, and you have to be part of the bigger picture.
Okay, well, I'm going to put another offer out to you in that if you ever have a program you want to take out to the high schools and you want to collaborate with a local radio show to take it out there, I would love to go out there and do that with you.
Fantastic. Thank you. I will take you up on that. You'll hear from me.
That's good. Well, you know what, you're going to be hearing from me next week anyway when I start coming out on my tour of San Diego and all the businesses that have been on the show. I'd love to come out and see what you do and see how we can get involved.
Right.
So, I got to tell you, it's kind of the wrong way to put it, but the homeless people locally are certainly a lot better off than they are in some of the other parts of the country.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't change the fact that they need help.
But San Diego, if you Google it, it is one of the top places to come if you're homeless. And it's mostly because of our weather.
Yeah. But aren't the majority of them have mental health issues?
A vast majority of homeless folks have mental health issues. And you can't force somebody to take medication. That's why our services are called a Housing First model, and we work on getting someone into a safe house, an apartment. We master lease quite a few units in San Diego, and then build a relationship. Because as we're building the relationship and they learn to trust us, then we can get them into programs, we can get them on. They can choose to go on medication. They can choose to get into the services. And that's what we found worked best for us.
Yeah.
Well, we're about out of time for this segment, but if you can, and we'd love to have you back to hear more, tell our listeners how they can find out more information about you and before we get to break.
Right. Go to our website. It's probably the easiest way to get a hold of us, www.mhsinc.org.
Great. Well, Kim, I appreciate you being with us, and I look forward to carrying your story forward for a long time.
Thank you for having us.
Great. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Send us a tweet at CloseUpSD or just find us on Facebook. And you can always email me at barry@closeupsandiego.com. Let me know what you think. I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.